Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I am your host, Louis Carlin. Thank you for joining me today. We're heard right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Braun Strowman is in talks with Impact Wrestling. Report just came out about a half hour ago. Braun Strowman in talks with Impact Wrestling. And I said I had a gut feeling Braun Strowman was going to end up in Impact Wrestling because he wants to be the top guy. Because the AEW, I don't think he'll be the top guy. He'll be one of the mid card guys in my opinion, especially with all the new signings that are coming in. He could definitely get lost in the shuffle. He wants to come in and be the top guy, and he will be the top guy immediately for Impact Wrestling. But he is in talks with Impact Wrestling. This is WrestleTalk.com. It's actually, as per the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's been reported that Adam Scherr, formerly Braun Strowman in the WWE, has been in talks with Impact Wrestling. The two parties are in talks, but Scherr has not signed with the promotion as of yet. Impact executive Scott D'Amore had previously teased that Braun Strowman would be appearing at the upcoming Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So Braun Strowman, aka Adam Scherr, in talks with Impact Wrestling. It seems like they've had multiple talks. Looks like Impact Wrestling's going hard at Braun Strowman. And like I said, I have a gut feeling deep down inside me that Braun Strowman is going to be a member of the Impact Wrestling roster. From what I've been reading, Buddy Murphy's already signed with them. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but I've been reading a lot of reports that Buddy Murphy has already signed a contract with Impact Wrestling, and he'll be debuting soon. But I, you know, I have the feeling that we're going to see the announcement in the next week or two that Braun Strowman signs with Impact Wrestling. You know, I would say there's like a 90% chance right now. That's how I don't want to throw odds out there. I don't throw any percentage rates out there, but I just have a feeling deep down inside me that Braun Strowman is going to sign with Impact Wrestling. Seems like they're going at him hard. Doesn't seem like there's much interest coming from AEW. And even if there was, like as I said, Adam Braun Strowman, we'll call him Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, um, he wants to be the top guy. He wants to be the guy of a promotion, in my opinion, and he will be the guy um, in Impact Wrestling immediately. As soon as he comes in, he'll be the guy, be the top guy. He could become the face of Impact Wrestling, and he could help bring more talent in, of course. And he's got a big match coming up. With EC3. It's going to be a cinematic match against EC3 on October 1st. But in talks with Impact Wrestling, and I really feel that he is going to be signing with Impact Wrestling. And man, that'll be a huge signing for Impact Wrestling. And I hope we get an official announcement in the next week or two that he's actually, in fact, signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. Now, on to Bray Wyatt. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt for a second. His AEW debut. There's a possible AEW debut date for Bray Wyatt. This is a possible debut date. Debut date has been revealed for the AEW debut of Bray Wyatt if he does indeed join the promotion. So he has to join the promotion first, and if he does, they do have a possible debut date. As per the Wrestling Observer newsletter again, there's been talk that Wyatt could debut on the September 29th episode of AEW Dynamite. That show is in Rochester, New York, the hometown of the late great Brody Lee, who was, of course, a member of the Wyatt family in WWE and a close friend of Wyatt. The Observer also mentions that Bray Wyatt doesn't debut. That if Bray Wyatt doesn't debut for AEW on that date or soon after. Now, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Okay, now I took a pause here because I read it before, and very interesting. You know that this is being reported here from the Wrestling Observer. It says the Wrestling Observer also mentions that if Bray Wyatt doesn't debut for AEW on that date or soon after, it's likely he could be instead heading to Impact Wrestling. There's been no confirmation of Wyatt having signed with AEW or agreed to sign with AEW or anything like that. It's just speculation for now. But I think that's so cool. That's so cool that the Wrestling Observer newsletter is coming out saying that if Bray Wyatt doesn't debut for AEW on that date, it is likely he could be heading to Impact Wrestling instead. So that's very, very interesting news. Very, very, very interesting news for Impact Wrestling fans. So I know that I would love to see. I know I feel Braun Strowman is headed to Impact Wrestling. I'm not too sure about Bray Wyatt, but I would love to see him in Impact Wrestling. If they could get Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman into Impact Wrestling, my goodness, that would be the huge splash that Impact Wrestling needs to bring attention to the promotion. Because right now they're struggling a little bit. They're struggling to get viewers. But if they could bring in Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, of course, Buddy Murphy, as I said, it's been reported that he's already signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. If he could, they could bring Strowman and Wyatt in. Wow, wow. So I don't know about you guys, and I'm enjoying AEW, but I kind of hope that Bray Wyatt doesn't debut on the date that they say here, because I would love to see him in Impact Wrestling. So let's see what happens. It's very interesting what's going to take place over the next month for Impact Wrestling. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Impact Wrestling. It could be very well Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt on their way to Impact Wrestling, but definitely, in my opinion, Braun Strowman will be a part of Impact Wrestling, and I'd love to see Bray Wyatt head over there as well. Maybe he could join forces with Braun Strowman, and they could be the unbeatable duo. They could be the unbeatable faces of Impact Wrestling, and that would add. And if they could get them, and then with the Forbidden Door, going back and forth to AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they would have Strowman and Wyatt on their side. Wow, that would be fantastic. That would be just fantastic, and maybe they could convince the Good Brothers to stay as well. Who knows? But interesting stuff. Interesting stuff to Impact Wrestling. So let's keep our fingers crossed. It's could be a very exciting month or month and a half, month or two for Impact Wrestling fans. So keep our fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. All right. So then leave it at that from now. I'll be back a little later today if anything else breaks. And until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye bye.